This is what the official website of N8N, and what they say: flexible AI workflow automation. So this is the workflow automation tool, and it's AI based and AI enabled. So you can create your AI agents, you can create simple plain automations, and you can create like any kind of complex automations also using N8N. If you don't talk about any legacy application where UI automation is the only option, apart from that, anything, any kind of use case you can build in N8N. So we will see what this platform is. We will see the foundation of N8N. What are the installation methods, how you can install, how you can leverage, and then we will do a normal walkthrough how we do for all the platforms, and then we'll try to build a first automation here, and we'll see about how you can run your automations in N8N, and then little bit we will deep dive and try to do one use case. So when we talk about automation and versus agents or AI agents we can call, or agents we can call. So far in the initial sessions we have explored about these terms, right? The differences between when it is an automation, when it is an AI agent or agentic automation, right? So automation is simple, rule based. You all are aware. For example, get me a coffee at 7 a.m. in the morning. So your coffee machine will be programmed for daily to run and prepare you a coffee or a tea. Or if you can create a scheduler, maybe at 9 a.m. I want to receive summary of all my important emails. So as per the rule, as per the configuration, whatever you do is in general termed as automation. And when it comes to AI agent, it has like people call it as like brain given to your automation or LLM model. So whenever you build an agent, there will be input, and there will be always a model in the picture, which we call LLM, any model, and then output. Okay, and in this LLM can interact with like various tools. We have seen this all, right? Tools, memory, or any other like server, MCP server, or whatever it is, that can also be clubbed together as a tool. But you know, right, whenever there is a business process, or whenever there is an automation that involves a decision making capability, which is a power of LLM, then it responds back based on whatever you have asked it to do, and it is more intelligent, right, in decision making. It is not just deterministic in nature as compared to automation. So that is where the agent come into play. So it is pretty clear, right? Or not every automation will need AI features, but if there are AI features within your automation, you can call that as a AI agent, or you can build your solution like as an agentic automation solution, right? In N8N, we get both the options. You can simply create end-to-end automation without using any element of AI or LLM, or you can create agentic automation applications. So it depends on your use case. It provides both those capabilities. First, let's understand about the foundations and how to access the platform and all. So I'll again take you to the website. So if you hit n8n.io, you can see here we have a GitHub. It's a like when it is the code is available here on the GitHub repository. You can see that it has 1,62,000 plus stars. You can access the code here. Like the entire N8N platform code is already publicly available here for you to review, and people are contributing it. Like if you feel that you can make some enhancement to the product, you can contribute. You can do a pull request and suggest your changes. If they are approved, they will incorporate your changes also. So this is a fair code tool. It is not open source, not closed source, but fair code. So as they mentioned, fair code workflow automation tool. So it is neither completely open source, but if you have to take this code and tweak it, there are ways there. Like if you have to, you can take it, you can use their code, use their platform for learning. It's free. But if you want to make something like enterprise grade automations, then you have to give some small subscription amount to the company. So it is like a SaaS based offering, and you have to pay something. Like you see here, enterprise option and the normal pricing option. So if you click here in enterprise, so most of the organizations would go with this approach. Like they would need enterprise capabilities, right, within the platform. But for your learning, and not even learning, to do a lot of use cases, your community edition is more than enough. You can build a lot of applications, a lot of automations using community edition also. But I am saying, like for enterprises also, they are focusing, and enterprises will prefer this option always. They will not go with the fair code model. And if as a user, if you, let's say you are a freelancer and you want to build automations using this platform, you can do that as well individually. So there are different pricing options available. So 20 euros, 50 euros, and this is for businesses, and this is business as in like one man company, or like if you're running your freelancing stuff, or maybe as a company also you're running, right? It's a small company, so you can also opt for these things, and it is listed. You can explore it. It's all self-explanatory. You can explore, but we will today what we will focus on is without any money or without any charges, how you can use or how you can leverage this platform. So what are those ways? We will explain. So N8N comes into three ways you can use. Like for example, one is cloud, which we will be using today. Another is your local hosted instance, local instance, where you can install it locally. In that, there is also option of a Docker instance where you install N8N and use it from Docker instance. And third one is the hosted. For example, if you have a hosting, for example, I have a hosting, my website is hosted. Like if you hit this website, automationfeed.com, it is hosted somewhere, right? That's where you are able to see it. There is a hosting server. Similarly, for your N8N also, you can buy a VPS hosting and host your N8N instance on that hosting. So it will be monthly 500 or 700 rupees charges, and you can run your flows from there. So these are the three ways which we will see in detail a bit later. I don't want to confuse you right now. So we will start with very simple process, which is where you don't have to worry too much on installing something and all. So what we can do is we can hit n8n.io, click on get started, and it will ask you this registration form. So if you fill in all the details, it will create a N8N instance on the cloud, and you will be having access for 14 days here. Okay, first what I would advise you, whenever you are signing up here for the first time, I would prefer using a completely new Gmail ID or a completely new temporary email IDs. So what will happen, right? Because we will sign up with some account, and then later on, if we practice some use cases where we need to connect to certain applications, like let's say Gmail or Google Sheet or Google Calendar, so we have to use that email ID. So I would advise that you should not use your primary email IDs, because it needs access to different services. And later on, we as a developer, we do things and we forgot to revoke access. And also maybe it is as a precaution, we always use it new email ID where not much of our applications are linked to account name. So this account name is your instance name. So you can see here app.n8n.cloud. So anything you can give. I like to go with the same instance as my email ID. It is not mandatory. You can keep it anything, but it should be available. So if I just try AI, right, it will not be available. And like once I click here, I will get an error, because most of the people have already used this maybe. So that's why I'm keeping it something unique, which I think this will be unique. And we'll say start free 14-day trial. That's it. It will ask few more questions to us. What is the size of your company? I'll say only me. What team are you in? I can put anything for now. IT. What describes your company as a best? In education, anything. I mean, you can type in anything. How you have heard about N8N. So few basic preliminary questions, and then you're done. Okay, this is for the invite. We can skip it. If you want to invite other people and all, so we don't want this now. We'll skip it. And that's it. Our workspace is ready now. All we can do is click on start automating, and it will take us to the newly created instance. You can see here, please notice here, AI with Dipendra.app.n8n.cloud/home/workflows. So this is the cloud instance of N8N, and this is my specific instance, which I will have access to for 14 days as it's a trial period. You can also create your own instance, create workflows, practice. And then if you think, yeah, you need more time, you can maybe go for upgrade option if you prefer, or you can create another instance with another email ID. So that's how you learn. But I think 14 days is more than enough. It's 2 weeks of time. It's more than enough to learn. I mean, it depends how much time you are dedicatedly giving, but I feel it's more than enough to try and explore this platform. And then I will show you some ways where you can install this locally without worrying about trial version or anything. That instance will be available with you forever. So I will also, towards the end, I'll show you that way also. We have logged into our N8N instance. This is, imagine, similar to your UiPath Cloud instance or Automation Anywhere control room. Imagine that similar to the same setup. So we have our cloud instance. We have logged in. This is the interface. This is the canvas, I would say. And this you can keep on you can keep on seeing a little bit change, right? Because with every version, they will also do some icon changes or some settings or some options they will change. But yeah, this is how at the moment it is looking. So you will have create your first workflow option. You start with template option, and then here in the left hand side you will have options like similar to other platforms which you get. So overview section, personal and project section, admin panel, templates, all this stuff. And this is where you do a settings for your profile. So basic name, I will put last name here also. And you can enable two-factor authentication. For a trial account, I would not suggest this, but it's up to you. And theme is system default. So that's why you see it in black or dark theme, because my system default theme is dark. You can keep it light theme also if you prefer. If you prefer that is what you want. So you can change that theme. I personally prefer dark theme. So I always go with dark theme. And then you have other settings here like users. As I was telling, we can invite more users also. So like two developers working on the same instance, sharing the same instance. You can this feature will more work on the enterprise level. When there is a one instance like a developer instance and you want all the developers to have access, then in that way you can create a team and assign those users here the access according to that to the users. For example, this is owner now, right? You can have different access also, rollback access control. Then project specific roles also you can define. Secrets you can manage it from here. This is all available in enterprise plan. So as a trial option, you will not get all the options enabled as a trial instance on the trial instance. So you have LDAP also, SSO configuration also you can do. So these are all features required in an enterprise setting. So enable MCP. This option is pretty recent. This was not there earlier. So you can enable that as well. So yeah, this is pretty much about basics and all. Then coming to the overview section. So from here, you can create either a workflow, credential, or a project. So so understand this hierarchy. So if you want to create automations, so you can also tag those automations under a project. So it can be a large project under which you need different automations. So in that way, you create project. Project is your root or a very large set of like a very large set, and then under that you can have subsets of your automations and AI agents and all that. So here it is divided into two sections. So project, whatever projects you work, you can create your folders and get started. Or if you want your workflows for your personal usage, so you can always tag them or create them under this personal. So that way they have tried to segregate like what are your project related stuff and what is your personal stuff. But this is as a best practice you can follow, but no one stops you to create anything in personal also, and no one stops you to create any personal projects in any personal productivity solutions also in projects folder. Nobody is stopping you, but as part of best practices, this is how they are asking us to follow. For any personal productivity solutions, you create your workflows under personal section, and for projects you go ahead and create it here. Okay, then we have admin panel. Again, here also some of the features will not be available because again it requires an enterprise feature, but for our learning we are good. Then we have templates. If you click on templates, it will take you to the pre-built templates that are available. For example, what this template does: automate restaurant sale and inventory forecasting with Gemini and Google Sheet. If you click on this, it will take you to this entire template, and this is how the automation is created. So I'll not use this right now. You will get confused. So we'll start from scratch only. Okay. I was just showing you option. So the option is also embedded. Earlier, when you click on template, it used to take you to the websites, and it used to take you to this website. And in the website, there are multiple templates. So from there, you were supposed to pick the templates. Now they have embedded it in the instance itself. You can choose and pick, and it will be incorporated into your workflow. We will see that option later, little bit later, once you get understanding of the basic stuff in N8N. So similarly, there are other options like which version you are currently hosted on. So if you click on here about, you will get to know the version, you'll get to know the source code, and yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. And from here, from the GitHub repo, you can see the last version, right? 3 days ago. Now you see on the website, what you can do is here they have given few samples like IT ops can automate onboarding new employees. So this is for onboarding new employees kind of a automation. So when user click on when a user creates a form and submits it, it goes to an AI agent, and then the logic is written in here in AI agent, and it is interacting with Anthropic model, and it is storing something in Postgres memory. It is using software Jira, Microsoft Entra ID as a tool, and then doing stuff. So similarly, you can build your. These are the some use cases they have listed. Just understand in that way. DevOps can do this. Security ops can do this. Sales can do this, and this is how they are just highlighting like what kind of automations you can do. And there are many clients or many companies are already using it. It has over 500 plus integrations out of the box. So whatever application you think today, it is already available in here. So not many people cover this kind of an integration. So it is already pre-built, lot of actions, lot of nodes. We call them as a node in N8N. So those are already available for us here, and we can just simply drag and drop, do some configuration, and get connected to those applications. So over 500, I think it is 1200 integrations now that are available within N8N. If you click on browse all, you will see the list. Yeah, 1269 integrations as per the category. So some are partner built. So like if we want to contribute also, we can also contribute. And if it satisfied all the standards and everything, they will include it. And then this is something where how you host it and all, self-host and local instance. And it is completely like majorly no code platform, but it comes with coding option also. So you have option currently for JavaScript and Python. So there is a code node where you can inject JavaScript and Python code. Python is in beta. When I last checked, it was beta a couple of days or a weeks back. I'm not sure if that is, we will see, we will figure that out in the latest release, if they have released Python support or not. But it was in beta earlier. JavaScript was full-fledgedly supported. So that's how you can code also. If you want to do something and which is not available out of the box for you, you can write a code and call it. Similarly, how we do it in automation anywhere, right? We write VB scripts, we write Python code, and we call it as a part of the workflow, as part of our bots, similar to that. So here, are we going to integrate N8N with any RPA tool? No, we are not. That is not needed here. But if you have a requirement, let's say you want to do some pre-processing logic in N8N and then pass on to your RPA bot, you can call that via API call. If your RPA platform supports to run a bot through an API, then you can invoke that bot from N8N instance or N8N workflow. That is possible. And other way around also it is possible. You can create your entire workflow in N8N and expose it over an API so that your RPA bot can call your N8N workflow. That is also possible. So when it comes to possibilities, it is possible, provided what is your use case, why to do that or not do that. So that decision we should take. Let's start from scratch. I will just I'll not create a project for now. I'll minimize this, and so you can try, you have two options, try an AI workflow or start from scratch. So we will do a start from scratch. As soon as you click there, you will get a canvas, empty canvas. Here you can name it my first workflow, any meaningful name you can give. And this is how you see the editor or canvas. We have options to zoom, fit, maximum, minimize, and tidy up. So currently you will not see anything. Once we put some nodes and all, you will be able to see it. And we get a mini map here also. So if we zoom in, zoom out, if we want, so we can just go to particular section. So it will come up. And if you there are a lot of shortcuts also. If you let's say if you messed up and it is too small and you want to make it to a center stage, so all you have to do is just click this zoom to fit, or press 1 on your keyboard. So if you it's better to work with shortcuts. So it's like easy, right? Fast for your development. So there are a lot of shortcuts available that you can explore. So okay, so I'll click on add first step here, or start from template and all. We don't want to do, we want to start completely from scratch. So this is a blank canvas we have got, and add first step option we have got. And here you see the options that are if you click on this plus or press tab, it opens the nodes. It opens the different nodes that are available. So node is nothing but imagine as a command or an action. So let's say if I click on trigger manual, so this is the trigger execute workflow node, so which will be a manual trigger. So if I click on execute workflow, this automation, whatever I built next, right, this will be triggered on this click, because we have a manual trigger workflow. Similarly, we can do a lot of other triggers also. Uh, we will also see that a little bit deep dive, and when we are building some example, that time I will show it to you other options also. You can simply drag and drop it anywhere in the canvas, and if you think, yeah, you have messed up, again do a tidy up, or zoom to fit. And let's say you have created a lot of other nodes, um, active market and all. So yeah, we will see all these things. So let's say I have messed up, and while navigating and all. So what you can do is click here, tidy up. So it will tidy up your solution. It will perfectly align it every node. So here you see just 3 nodes, but in real time application, when you're creating, it will be plenty of such nodes, right? 20, 30, 50. So that time it will be very useful to use these options like tidy up and all. And you click on control, and you can navigate across like this. Control and left mouse click, it lets you navigate in your canvas and locate all the workflows. Okay, so let me delete this. So you have a little icons over the top for deleting, for disabling it. So this button is for deactivating and activating your workflow, and this button is for just executing this individual workflows. For example, your input is from this your workflow gets triggered, it has some input, and you just want to execute this node. Let's say you don't least bother about this and this. For your testing, you want to just execute this node and see the results. So you can do that also. Individual nodes also can be executed. And let's say you don't want this for some reason, you can deactivate it rather than deleting it. And if you're sure that you don't want it completely, you can get rid of it, delete it. Okay, so just think of node. This is the node, and these are the edges that we connect to a different node. So it's sequential logic what we do here. So this can be anything. Like if you want to create a form, so your trigger of this workflow would be a form trigger. Whenever that form is submitted, that will be a trigger. What you want to do next, you have to define that. Stuff like that. Like there is a different options here. N8N AI is also there. If you click here, just a moment. Yeah. So here you can ask anything to N8N, which is like they're using a RAG. They have built a RAG chatbot. So it will give you answers based on the documentation from N8N. So N8N has very good documentation. So if you click on docs.n8n.com, docs.n8n.io. So you find pretty extensive documentation, and you can just read and get started there. If you're not comfortable using any node and all, you can probably check out the examples and everything there. And also here, if you click on this, if you double click on the node, here also for every node you will find the docs link. So if I click here, it will be specific. It will take you to the specific that particular node documentation. So this is manual trigger node. What this node does, what are the common issues? Maybe if they have experienced some issues and all, that will also be documented. And here you can use this option like chat with docs. So this chat with docs is the same option that you're seeing in here, N8N AI beta. So let's say I ask how to use Gmail node, let's say, just anything randomly. So it will just give you with the answers. I'll help you to understand how to use Gmail node in N8N. It's taking some time, and see, it has just brought those node on the canvas. Send email, get message, add label. So there are many nodes, but yeah, it has given us send email, because this is based on the documentation and based on the understanding of the workflows how people build it. It brought these three nodes, like send email, get message, and add label, and it has just added it. Whenever I execute this workflow, it will first go and send an email. It will also go and get all message, and then maybe add a label. This is how it has defined, and it has also giving you a summary how it, like what exactly each node is doing. And if you double click here, you can set up the configuration. Like here, you have to create new credential and connect to your Gmail account, because yeah, we are using send email, but it is not, it doesn't know, right, which account to connect and where to send an email. All that configuration we have to do. Similarly, in our Automation Anywhere, UiPath, wherever, whichever applications, low code, no code tools that we use, it's similar to that, right? We have to do a configuration. And here you have to build a credential. If you click on credential, there are two options: either use OAuth 2 or service account. Service account is little bit complicated in terms of setting it up. You have to do a few steps here, but you can always go with OAuth while you are building your personal projects or for practice. Service account is needed or beneficial when you are building any enterprise use cases where you cannot just connect to your account, your Outlook account or your Gmail account, because that is not personal anymore. You are building something, an enterprise use case, where you can go ahead and do everything with a service account. Service account can be your functional account. It can be called as anything else. But yeah, it will be that time you will use service account configurations. So there will be an email associated with it. You have to configure your private keys also, and you can open docs and follow them step by step. They have given everything, how to set up a service account. This is for Google because we are using Google service account, or one of the Google service, right? So that's why it is for Google. But if you use for Microsoft, you can use that also. For now, we will go ahead and click on OAuth, which is recommended approach, and click on sign in with Google, and it will ask you credentials. So I will go ahead and use my new email, which I have created, and click next. So once I click on login, it will see it is asking permission to read, compose, send email, permanently delete all the emails, manage draft, view your email. All these permissions it is asking me. But for now, I will select all because I don't want to get into the limited functionality. I mean, we are just trying it out, right? And again, we are using a new email ID, so there is no harm. This email ID is newly created and not associated with any of my accounts. So I'll go ahead, click on continue. Connection is successful, and we can close this window. And here we have got green sign, so our account is connected. You can share this credential with other folks also, which are part of the same instance. And I'll exit it from here. And the moment you click connect, so it has now created a Gmail account credential for you, which holds your credentials as a OAuth connection, right? Now, what I will do is I'll click on send operation, and recipient also I'll give the same email ID. Right, we can see that email is coming from him, and hello from N8N. I'll keep it the same subject line, and email type I can keep text for now. You can configure HTML also. It's just that if we configure HTML, we need to format it a bit like in an HTML format. We will see that in one of the use case. For now, I'll keep it text. So this is a test email from N8N workflow. Now you might be thinking that if you want to add some more thing, it is very cumbersome, right? I mean, in just one view, in single view, how you would do that? So for that, N8N has been thinking ahead there, and they have given one option here, which you can click, and it opens up in a model pop-up. So this is the test email from N8N workflow. I am happy to try N8N, whatever we can add, and we can close it here. That's how it has the message we have appended it. And other options are also there. Append N8N attribution. So if you click here, so we will see what that is. Let it be on for now. Append N8N attribution. And now in the left hand side you see input, and right hand side you see output. So in N8N, always think it's a left to right. Whenever you are building your workflows, it is always like left to right. Left will be your very first node, and then you can go towards right. It is not top down. It is always left to right. And in here also they have kept the same thing. I'll for now I'll close this AI chat. And in the left side you can see all the inputs. In between, this is your node that you will execute, and here you will see output. So for now I will not execute any previous node, because the previous node is just a manual trigger node. So here I will just execute this particular step or this particular node, which is send email. Let me click on execute, and it has executed. In output, I have got some ID, thread ID, and some label IDs, which is in table format. I can click on schema format. It shows in a schema format. And if I click on JSON, it shows in JSON format. So all the three formats are available. If you want to tweak something in output, you can do that here also. Let's say I want to add something and all, I can do that and save it. Because this is local execution. We are trying and testing, right? So let me cancel. Once I click on execute step, it must have sent a email. Let's see. So this is Max from N8N. No, this is not the one. Yeah. So this is the email that we got. Hello from N8N. If I click here, this is a test email. I am happy to try N8N. Remember, whatever we have configured there, text message, same thing has came. And this email was sent automatically with N8N and the link. So this is what it is coming from the attribution here. If we toggle it off and again execute this time we should not see that message. Let me go back. Okay, we have got the mail. So this is a test email, and I am happy to try N8N. We have not seen the attribute, this one, right? This message. So I wanted to show that. And similarly, there are other options also. Attachment, if you want to set attachments, you want to keep someone CC, BCC, all that you can play around and pretty much do that. Now, if you think like this is very small for you and you're not able to work, so you can play around. Like you can keep it in any size, any form, whatever you wish. It's very intuitive, very flexible. If you want to reduce little bit input, you don't want to see that, and you can play around whichever way you like. Now you want to get exit, exit from this. So either you can click here, or you can click on this back to canvas, and we are back. So now you see a green, this got executed, this got executed, all green, but this didn't got executed, right? Get message, because we have not configured, I believe. It got connected to the same Gmail credential that we have used, and it's showing an option here, operation, what you want to do, get many, mark as read, mark as unread, or reply, whatever option. We can choose it from here. Same thing applies. This is a get all messages. So from that account, it will fetch all the messages, and then it will try to add a label. In label, if we have specified something, we have not. Important. Okay, we have specified a label as important. Let's see if it has done that. So we have an important here. Okay, but it didn't work that way. No worries. Anyway, this is not how we use all Gmail actions, right? I just wanted to show it to you, what the node exactly it is and how we connect different nodes. So here we can use if else logic also. So there is a node called if. So there is a if node. If I double click here, you can write your if conditions, and that would be available for you. And you can, I don't want this link, I can delete this. And if this one, I have to delete this also. So let's say I want to execute this on true, something true, then I want to execute this. If something is false, I want to execute this. So what I will do is, again, I will connect to this. Okay. And again, now we see that it is a little bit of a mess. What we do now, either click one or click tidy up. So tidy up, it will tidy up with the solution. And you can, so there is no auto save, I believe. So you have to just make sure of clicking on save, otherwise your work will be lost. So please click on control save. Just keep that habit of having control save every time. that will help you to have the latest changes always. And from here you can just see the history also, like when it was last saved, what were the changes, and you can restore this version. So this is how you can get back to your last saved version. In some cases, if your instance crashes or something happens, where you will not lose much of your work if you have the habit of saving it after every changes. We have just seen a concept of node. We have also seen how to connect one of the node and receive an email. So now there is a concept here called, so this is the option to add nodes. This opens up a node panel, and then you can search through what you want to add. Then there is also a option to find. So if you want to find something in your workflow or node and anything related to that, you can also type and search for that particular node. And here you have an option called sticky note. So as soon as I click on sticky note, this is like something it has dropped on my canvas. So this sticky note is very useful, and it's a good way when you're building solutions. So it is something which I'm showing today is like standard or a best practice. It is not mandatory again. So now this if statement I have include here. So if third person is just reviewing my solution, or if somebody is checking, or you also, like after 6 months, if you're checking the solution, you may also not remember. So it's always, it note act as a documentation or a comment for your notes. So what I will do it here, I'll double click. It open up in a markdown format. Markdown is a lightweight markup language. Similarly, how you have HTML, right? SHTML, sorry, not SHTML. Like we have HTML format, we have JSON format meant for different things. So Markdown is like you write in a plain text, but there is some syntax or some way you can convert it into a Markdown so that it follows some standard. Like it improves your readability and all that stuff. So if you type in Markdown hash and type something, it will be always your heading 1, like biggest heading. In HTML, similar to your h1 tag. And then if you type two hashes, then it's heading 2. Similarly, like similar to, and so forth. Like if you double click here, you see, right, I am a note. So we can change it, let's say 1. And this will give you like bold. In WhatsApp also, there we have Markdown, right? We can type this asterisk, or we can type this sign. This sign will give you italics, or I think strike through or something. Here it is not working. Maybe it works on the double symbols. So yeah. So strike through. It has strike through that particular text. And you remember the size also increase now of my note because we have removed. Oh yeah, keep it back. Now coming back to the notes. So sticky note. So this sticky note you can play around, you can move it around, and let's use it for this if statement and for the documentation that we want to have. So we can type in here, this is a if this is a conditional node, and why we want, like for example, based on this business logic, it should either go to this step or that step. We can write that, we can have that right up here. And if you don't like this color coding, you can change the color coding also, doesn't matter. So already whatever code colors are available, you can choose from them. So this was all about the walkthrough of the platform, the initial walkthrough. I think we have seen how you can set up, like the sign up process. We have seen the UI walkthrough. We have seen the workflow. This is in a short, this entire thing is a workflow now. So our worst, like hello world, like when we learn a new programming language, we build a hello world application or a hello world program. So similar to that, this is our first workflow in N8N. And I've executed also this step. If we click on execute workflow, this entire workflow will get executed. For now it will break here because we have not configured anything. Let me configure that also. So from our previous node, if we want to, based on some input, if you want to type in something, like now here, this is not the right point to use if statement because we are just triggering a workflow. It will not have any inputs from here. But let's say if there was a form here. So for now, what we will do to execute the entire workflow, I will go ahead in the if statement and I'll just type 1 is equal to 1. Just always true condition. So now I'll click on execute workflow. What it should do, it should trigger this will condition will be always 1 is equal to 1 always. Oh yeah, 1 will always be equal to 1. So this is always true condition, and it will go and send an email to whom? To what IDs we have configured. For my ID only for now. Let me execute. Done. Within milliseconds, right? We got it executed. It's so fast. So it got executed, it checked the condition, and it sent the email also. Let me go and see if I have received the email. Done. See, I have received the email. Done. We have just built our first workflow, and we have executed it end to end. Now, if we wanted to execute something in false, similarly, like this condition should be, not true. And then if I type it here, 1 equal to 2, it will always be a false condition, right? And then in that case, it will execute this. Here, what we can do, get many, and we can limit, let's say 2. We want to fetch 2 emails, let's say, and execute. And I'll switch to table view. So it is able to retrieve 2 emails now from my account, right? And this is the ID. This ID I can use to delete this message now. So if I go here, copy, which message is this? This is a test email sent from N8N workflow, but we have many such emails, right? Which is test email. We will not know if it is getting deleted or not. Let me do something different. So we have clicked on get many option, which means, and we have limit only for 2 records. So in our email, we have, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 emails we have, right? Sorry. So out of 6 email, we are restricting to get only 2 records. And if you click here, so this ID which you are getting here is from Gmail. Now, I'm not sure whether this ID, if we use, it will work for deletion or not. That's what we have to try, because this is the unique ID. Okay, let me copy this and click on delete and message ID, execute. So success, that means now we had 6 emails, so we should have only 5. So let's see, refresh it. Yeah, something got deleted, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and in promotion 1, 5, right? 6, we had 6, so 1 got deleted. So that worked. But now we did a reverse engineering. Like we took something from output, and then but earlier, otherwise, other way around, it should be like we should fetch. Okay, how it should work, right? We should get all the messages, get many, limit, let it be 50. Okay, save it. And our next node should be again the same thing, get messages, and where we delete one particular email ID. So now here what we are doing, we are getting all the messages with respect to the Gmail account that we have configured. If we execute this step, it will return me all the 6 email, or 5 rather. Why 5? It is okay. It is not considering maybe the promotional. Okay, now it's 5 only, right? We have deleted 1. So all the 5 email IDs I have got. If you go in a schema view also, you can see, and in JSON also you can see. Better to view it in table format. So if you see here, this is a test email, this is a test email, and then you have in 14 days extra trial and all that stuff. So these are all my emails, right, on that particular email ID, and we are able to fetch them all. Now, so output of this get message node can be an input of the next node, right? I'll go here, and for this node, can rely on the input from the output of this node. So what we did here, get all the messages. You are clear with this point, right? We are using get many, and it will fetch all the messages. The limit is currently 50. We can keep it anything. So we have got all the 5 emails by configuring and executing this node. Now this node add label. So we can use input. We can use the response generated by this node as an input to this node, right? Increase a bit. Now let me click in here. If you see here, add label, what it does, it will add a label to your email. If you're not sure what it does, go to documentation and see. Use this Gmail node to automate work with Gmail and all that blah blah stuff. And Gmail node supports this. Why it is showing only Gmail node? Okay, add label, right? We want to add a label. So click here. Use this operation to add 1 or more label to the messages. This is what the node does. So here, let's say I want to add a label to one of my email. And here, how I can do that? I have to provide that message ID. So either I go provide that message ID as a fixed number. If I had that value, I can type that as a fixed value. But it's not advisable, right? In any kind of coding solution or automation solution, we cannot hard code things. So we will go with expression. And in expression, we will write JavaScript logic to fetch the message ID. Like here, if we type two braces, that means everything inside these two brackets is always JavaScript in N8N. Anytime you want to execute JavaScript, you have to embed that JavaScript code inside these two curly brackets. So now it is giving you the result. It is evaluated to this result, like 19B1 something something, because this is the maybe the latest email, latest ID. I will see that JSON. If you go to JSON, so yeah, this is what it is. Right. ID and thread ID, because there is no thread. We are not using any email thread right here. It is just individual emails. So here, I mean, coincidentally, thread ID and IDs both are same. But this ID refers to this particular email. This is a test email sent from N8N workflow. This was the text inside that email. So whatever you want to do, let's say add a label, and label can be important or anything, any other category if you want. You can choose from here: spam, inbox, category, forums, personal, promotion. Let's say we will create two: category, promotion, and important for this particular email ID. So let's execute this now. So this is the way how to use input from the previous node. So this was the previous node, and we have configured the message ID like this. If you are not sure like what to use it here, how to dynamically fetch this, let's say I'm not sure, I'll go to schema. And in schema, I can see right my input from my get message node. So I will just quickly go and drag this like this, and it will transform. It will create the variable or the expression by itself. Let's say I didn't wanted to use message ID. I wanted to use something else. I can simply go that JSON.thread ID. So this JSON object, $JSON is your root element. Under that, all these things you can call: thread ID, payload. And you're not sure of the expression, no worries. You can just go and drag it simply. So then here it will go JSON.label of 0. So labels is an array of object. Label 0 has these two elements, then label 1 has these two elements, label 2 will have these two elements similarly. So it is an array. If you want to traverse array, how you can. So these are all your programming concepts, right? How to traverse a JSON. So for now, I mean, this is invalid here. We will go ahead with message ID. So this is, if you don't know JavaScript or something, then you can follow this approach. Any variable you want from here to act as an input here, you can just simply drag and drop. Let's execute this now. It should add a label of important and category promotion. So it has added it, I think, to everyone, to every email it has added. So everything is removed from primary, and it is some of them are sitting in promotion. Not some of them, only. Yeah, earlier it was only one here in promotions, but yeah, all the 5 are now sitting in promotion label, under promotions label, because that's what we have configured. Let me go back. Category, promotions, and important. Yeah, important also. If I click on important, I see all those 5 emails. If I click on promotions, I see all those 5 emails. So forget about which email is getting marked what. The idea is just understand, like, based on previous node, how you can run the next node, how previous nodes output can act as an input for the next node. That was the concept I wanted to display, or I wanted to show. So now, based on true statement, it will send the email. Based on false statement, it will go fetch all the message and add a label. That's it. Okay, so if you want to do something which is not available out of the box and which is not available as a node or action, what you can do, you can just click on code node. You can go here and click to find code. And in code node, JavaScript is allowed, Python code is still in beta. So you can double click this. It will open up a node. You can configure the mode, run once for all item, run once for each item, like however, whichever is suitable for you, for your use case, and then you can start writing your code in a JavaScript form. You can also ask AI to generate code, right? It's a Copilot, GitHub Copilot. It's kind of a GitHub Copilot for you. You type in what you want and it generates the code, and then you use that code. So that was about the code node. In code node, you can use JavaScript and Python. Python is a beta, so not recommended for production use still, but for JavaScript, you can go ahead. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about type of nodes that are available within N8N. So we have categorized into few type of nodes. You can see this is the trigger node. So let me zoom in a bit and navigate to trigger node. So in trigger node, we have manual trigger, which we had seen earlier. We have form trigger. So based on if you use this trigger, double click. So it will have a URL. So if I click on this URL, test URL and production URL. So if I click and go to that particular URL, I will see the form. Currently form is in listening mode. So what I have to do, I have to click on execute step. So let me add something here. Form title, agentic automation, full description, APA bootcamp, and then form elements. Let me add form elements. I want to have field name called name. It will be text by default, and default value, I want to keep it blank. I want to keep it required field because I'm fetching, let's say, information. And let's say here I want to add a field, choose bootcamp maybe that we want to register for. And here, instead of text, we will go with drop down. Default value would be APA bootcamp, or we can keep it just APA, and then different options we can fill in. Maybe GenAI, other can be Python, RAG, whatever it is. Okay. So now multiple choice we don't want to enable. Only one from a drop down should be selected, and you can keep the select whether you want to keep them required or like optional. Totally up to you. Respond when form is submitted. So what are the other options? Form is submitted, workflow finishes, using respond to webhook. Webhook is a different concept. We will see what that means. So first understand, whenever the form is submitted, this node receives the form submission. Like, so when I say submission, it is the value that the user will enter. So let me click on execute here. Once you click on execute, it starts listening. So let me refresh this now. This is my form, which we have just created, right, in few seconds. So I'll put my name, put my email, me1, obviously, and the type of value I want to provide here, GenAI, Python, or RAG. I'll go with RAG and I'll click on submit. So as soon as I click on submit, here the values will be recorded in all format like JSON, table, and schema. So my next node can be write data back to Google Sheet or send an email, whatever it can be, depending on the use case. You can play around with these values. So the output value from here can be input to your next node. So this is all about form trigger, which I wanted to show you. You can quickly launch a URL. So this will always be your test URL. But if you want to use it always, you have to take this URL, production URL. This is just for testing. Problem loading form. Okay, yeah, because it's a production URL. We have to save and publish our workflow, which will not be allowed in the trial version. So, but yeah, when you publish this workflow and you have a form trigger, that time you have to use on production URL. It will not work with this. So that was form trigger. Then we have a Telegram trigger. In Automation Anywhere Agent Builder, we have seen to connect to a Telegram. Similarly, here also you can connect with Telegram, same way, create new credential, then you set up the triggers and all that stuff. And you can, if you are confused, you can click on the documentation docs portal, and step by step you can follow these instructions how to get connected to Telegram. So it is always like configurational only, simple. Similarly, we have other triggers. So these are just few examples. It's not that only these many trigger nodes we have. We have plenty of trigger nodes. These are few examples. Telegram, we would have Slack, we would have WhatsApp, you would have a lot of such trigger nodes. If you click here, on the plus sign and type trigger, you'll see all the trigger nodes. And some are clubbed together also. If you see this sign, right? Tally trigger. So all the trigger related to tally will be under this node. So these are individual and group triggers. So for example, if you click on, let's say email trigger or something like that. Yeah. So email trigger, if I click on Gmail, so we have so many actions, label, draft, and triggers. So here there's one trigger on message received. For Gmail, we have only this on message received. So if we use this, so whenever there is a message or new email received, your workflow will start executing. So this is all about triggers, like trigger nodes. So I've shown few of here workflow trigger, which I was talking here. So if you have, let's say now we have two workflows. I'll save this first. So one workflow name is type of nodes. The other workflow name is my first workflow. Now from type of node, I want to call this my first workflow. Let's say I'll go here and I'll click on this workflow trigger node. So to use workflow trigger, you will have to use one more node, which is workflow node. Let me click here. So they work both hand in hand. So execute sub workflow. So this execute sub workflow, the source will be database. Database is like your local N8N instance database, and from the list you have to choose. So currently we have only two workflows, right? Type of node and my first workflow. I will click on my first workflow. Run once with all items. I will keep it the default option and go back. So see, as soon as I added this, it automatically connected with workflow trigger because it is based on the workflow trigger node only, right? It has automatically created this link. I have not tied up with this workflow. So that's how it works. If you want to call any workflow, you have to use workflow trigger node and then call my workflow. For now, I'll get rid of this. Going back. So trigger node, we have seen trigger node. Then another category of node is action node. We have already seen get email message, add label, or send email. We have seen these nodes. So this is action, taking some, as the name suggests, like taking some action. So this is kind of an action node. Delete a record on Notion, get items from Notion, search some data in Google Sheet, update Google Sheet, write back to Google Sheet, create a Google Sheet, something where the automation is taking action on your for your logic. So there are many such action nodes. All are mostly wherever you are taking any CRUD operations or we are doing anything in the system, that will all be coming under action node. So let's say like calendar, I will say calendar, Google Calendar. So if I click in here, get an event. This is also an action node. Every action which is related to that particular node, there will be many action nodes. It's just imagine them as a method or like a way to do things. So that will all fall under this category called action node. Then we have data transformation nodes where you will play around with the data. For example, you will split some data. You have an array, you will split that data, then maybe you will merge them, aggregate them. So aggregate node is used for aggregating of the data, combining together data. Let's say you have received a request and then you are chunking. Maybe you are splitting it out into multiple records, and then again while formalizing the final output, you have to patch them up, aggregate them, and then present it to user. So for that, you will first use split to split up the records. For example, we have, let's say in our form example, we had three values: RAG, APA, and GenAI. So these three values we need to split out, and one by one we need to work upon. So we can use split out node for that. So here, let's say batch size, they are giving batch size. So currently, as per the latest update, N8N automatically runs once for each input. Earlier, that was not the possibility. So if, let's say, you have 10 records and you want to run your automation for all those 10 records, you had to type a for loop and split that data and pass it one by one. Now that capability is inbuilt. So time to time, N8N keeps on adding new nodes and deprecating also few nodes which are already as part of the platform. So they will deprecate also such nodes. So here, that what they're saying, if you want to just run for 10, batch size of 10, you may not need this split out option anymore. N8N will handle that accordingly. And we have seen that while we were doing a label for our emails, it executed for all the emails, right? We used get many option where all the 5 emails were fetched, and then it labeled all the 5 without us writing a for loop and iterating one by one on each item. It did it for all. So that's the default behavior of N8N as a platform. But if you don't want to go with the default behavior, then you can write your own logic of loop and do processing one by one. That is also available. There is a loop node. We will talk about that also in some time, but that is also available. So the idea is here, all the nodes that you see are data transformation role. They are always related to the data that if you want to set some data, do some data manipulation, form a JSON object, whatever it is. If statement we have already seen. Then switch case statement is also there. So if you want more such options, let's say more logic based on, we have more conditions, because in if we have only 2 conditions, right? True, either it will be true or false. But if let's say our scenario is like we have many such options, and based on that we want to decide which workflow or which nodes to call, so that we can do using switch. Then we have some core nodes. One of the core node we have already seen, like if you want to inject any code, a custom code, then we can use this node. It allows you to write JavaScript, and Python is currently in beta version. And then we have HTTP request. If you want to fetch data from any APIs, we use HTTP request get node. So similarly, we can use get, put, post, all those options that are available as part of the HTTP methods. And then you can use file as a response, JSON and string. There is no XML option available right now. Only JSON, string, and file. These are the response format. And you can use you can have all the headers and all. So it's pretty standard as per any API that you consume, like in Automation Anywhere, in UiPath, you have all these REST API commands and action. It's similar to that. And authentication, you can choose from basic authentication to OAuth 1, OAuth 2. All these options also there. And yeah, for each node you get a setting option. I forgot to tell you about this. So then setting option, it will have a few settings, like always output data. If you always toggle this or keep it on, it will always output, irrespective whether you want it to give output or not. Like it will always output the data in spite of execution. And then if you click on execute once, this node, irrespective of whatever you have configured, it will always execute one, because these settings will take precedence over your generic settings, because these are specific to the node, right? And if you can click here, retry on fail. So if your node fails for some reason, let's say the response you didn't get or it failed, so you can configure your max retries also, and what should be the wait period before the next retry, all that. And on error, what you want. So you want to stop the workflow or continue the workflow or continue using the error output. So these 3 options are available for your error handling. So these options will be available for every node. Display a note inflow. If you enable this, whatever notes you write here, right? API trigger. So whatever note you will write here will be available. Go here. See here, API trigger. And then we have I will cover this a bit later. We have webhook concept also. And then we have action node. Sorry, not action node. It is AI node, AI agent node. So then we have AI agent node. These are the nodes that help you build agents. So if you drag and drop AI agent node, it comes with 3 options, 3 connectors. Like you can connect a chat model. If you click here on plus sign, it will take you to the available list of nodes, which is Anthropic chat model, Azure OpenAI, or Google Gemini chat model. If you click on any one, it will just connect the model. You have to configure, provide the credentials and the API key and all that stuff you have to do. Once you do that, it will be available like this, in this way. And if you feel that for this agent you want to have a memory, you can add any of the memory options. MongoDB, Motorhead, Postgres chat memory, Redis chat, and Zata. These are the nodes which are pre-built and available for beginners. Like for your practice and all, we can use simple memory, where N8N will store their data on N8N memory only. So they have also exposed one feature called simple memory. If we don't have access to any accounts over here, we can also play around with simple memory and configure it. So it will come like this in a memory object. Click here and click on AI and click on AI agent. So I'll get a new node. So this node, I will place it here. I don't want any connection for now. I will delete this. So this is my new AI agent node. I will add a chat model, Azure OpenAI, anything. I'm not providing any key for now. In memory, I can have simple memory. And in tool, I can have any tool, code as a tool, or just code as a tool, or maybe a calendar or a Google or a Gmail as a tool, anything. It depends on my use case, what my agent is trying to do and what I'm building that agent for. So I can use HTTP request as a tool, MCP client as a tool, vector stores as a tool, another AI agent as a tool, Airtable tool. Airtable is also one of the applications similar to your Google Sheet, but it is way more advanced. Gmail as a tool, if I want to consume, or maybe if I want to search the web, let's say. This agent is again limited in knowledge. It is trained on, let's say, the data till previous month, and it doesn't know the latest event. So I want to search. In that case, I want to search my internet. So I can use Serp API, which is similar to which uses Google search APIs internally to search the data and provide you the response. For example, if I ask my agent who won in last T20 match between South Africa and India, my agent would not know, because agent is trained on some data, right? It is not trained on the latest event. For that, I can just rely on my simple Google search, and that Google search this can do with the help of this Serp API tool. All I have to do is just click here, connect to my Serp API account with a API key, and then it will be available here. And in instruction of the agent, I simply type, if you don't know the answer, please use Google search as a tool, and it will just try to use the tool. So here, if I double click here, you can do all the configurations for the prompts and all. So as I told, these are not the only nodes, but these are few of the important nodes. When we work with N8N, you will any node that you use will fall under these categories. These will not be outside of these categories. Either you will always use trigger nodes, you will use action nodes, you will use transformation node, you will use either of them, right? If we are not using any code, but HTTP, definitely there will be API based requirement in your work automations. And agent node, if you feel that your use case needs an AI, then you use agent node. Otherwise, if you just use these things, right, without AI agent nodes, if you use all these things, it is your pure workflow automation, not AI workflow automation, or not AI driven workflow. It is just a simple workflow automation, right? But if you add an element of tooling and LLM and AI into it, then it becomes your AI agent. We have just seen about N8N installation or using N8N on the cloud instance, where what we did is we just went to n8n.io, and then we created our account, which gives us 14 days for a trial, right? Now we want to keep it forever free. We want to access, and who doesn't like forever free stuff? So how to do that? So in that case, what you have to do in your system, you just have to install Node.js first. And how you can do that? Just go to Node.js and download the Node.js with respect to your operating system. So here, you click on download, and for Windows 64, my machine is 64-bit, so I will just choose here Windows and 64 x64 architecture and click on Windows installer. So I will get a MSI file, double click, install, next, done. As simple as that. If you are on Mac, Linux, or some other operating system, accordingly you choose the packages, the files, and you follow the installation instruction, and your Node.js is installed. Once that is installed, I will not install it again because my system already has Node.js. That's a pretty basic for running all your packages and all. So I have it already installed. Once you do that, you go to command prompt, type npx node package manager, command from node package manager, npx N8N, and click enter. Once Node.js is installed, you go to command prompt, type npx N8N, and it will install N8N locally for you. It's doing it, right? The port number that it will use is 5678. So make sure that port number is free. If you are using it for some other application, then it will error out, because by default N8N uses 5678. Then in that case, you have to first uninstall that application which is using this port in your system. So and then you have to again restart your machine and type npx N8N. So it has now installed. For me, it is already installed, so it is just taking less time. But for you, initially, it will take little bit more time. And once everything is okay, all the packages are installed, then you will be able to access your N8N instance on this URL, localhost :5678. You can just copy this and open it in your browser, or you can just type O to open it in your browser. So if I click O, it will go ahead and open it in the browser, localhost 5678, and it will ask login. For me, I logged in yesterday only, so it has preserved that session. But for you, when you're doing it for the first time, it will ask a login. You can register because you will be using it for the first time, so you can just fill in your details, similar to what we did in while using our cloud instance, right? We filled in those details, so you can just sign up and use your email ID and password, and then get sign in, and then you will get the instance like this, the home page and all. And you see there are limited options, right? If you compare here with your Cloudflow, you get many options like project, add a project, admin panel, and all these stuff. Here you will not get all these options. You will get only like one overview section, and you build all your workflows then and there. You cannot segregate them as a personal or as a project. So there are little bit limitations. So here we get options like create workflow, create credential, and create data table. Here also, if we go back, we get options like create credentials, create variable. So this option is missing there. You cannot create a variable there. And in N8N, the variable is nothing but your global variable. Like if you click on create variable, and whatever value you create here, let's say key name is name, value is myself, and scope global. It is not allowing me a different so scope is global. If I create this value, so this will reside in the variable section, and whenever I use this syntax, whatever value I have configured here will be accessible. So this is like kind of your global value or global variable. Let's say if you want to use certain keys or certain values that you want to use across project, maybe base URL or whatever. So if that is your use case, then you create a variable. Like if you are using API and you have a base URL, or you have using API key for some of your shared project, then you can maybe type in here the name and the value, and you can use it in a form of a variable in all your workflows. And similarly, we have a concept called data tables also. So we can create a data table. So data table is nothing but a table like structure. So you can import already existing data from CSV if you have, or if not, then you can create it from scratch. It's a table like structure. ID, created at, and updated at, these are the default columns. But if you want to add more columns, name of a student, string, it's like creating a database SQL table similar to that. Age of a student, add column. So similarly, like you can add rows. Yeah, these will be null because we have added them later. You can add column, add rows, and then you can leverage this data source in your automations in your project. So in your cloud, you get options like workflow. Cloud instance, you get options like workflows, credentials, executions, data table, and variable also. But here, if I go here, yeah, credentials. So all the credentials that you use for your workflows will sit in here. Then executions, whatever workflow you execute, all the execution logs will be seen here. We executed, right, these nodes in these workflows. So that is the log for them. If you click here, you will see the detailed log. So how much time it took and all that. Okay, we'll go back. Then variables and data tables. But in your local instance, when you go to your local instance, you will not find this option because this is always available in your enterprise plan. What we are accessing here is our enterprise version. That's the reason it is only allowed as a trial period. And data table also they have introduced now in the local instances because you can see it here. It is at beta. Sorry. Rest all the options you see same, but there is little bit small differences as compared to your cloud instance and your local instance. But from a development perspective, you will not find any such challenge. If you master these 17 nodes in N8N, it's basically you will learn N8N, like everything in N8N. It's similar to that. So if you have a good command on these 17 nodes, majority of the automations that we build in N8N are done through these. Like a few minutes back, I have shown you the type of nodes, the categories, right? If you that is the only category of nodes that are available in N8N. So if you master that category also, then you can work it with any type of nodes, right? So here also it is similar to that, 17 nodes, what I call it. And let me hide this chat and bring it a little bit more. So I have categorized them into these 17 nodes, schedule trigger. So it doesn't mean that there's only one tool called one kind of node. There can be multiple nodes, right? Again, it is similar to the category that we have seen, but this schedule node for all your automations that you want to schedule. For example, in RPA, we schedule bots, right? So here also you can build your workflows. So that workflow will always start on this schedule trigger. If I double click here, you can set the intervals, like if it is a daily bot or hourly bot or monthly bot. So for example, in a month, if you want to execute, you can decide week, month, and you can also decide on custom logic for a cron job also. So for example, now we'll keep it days. So every 1 day, I want this bot to trigger at midnight. But rather than midnight, we will go with some predefined logic. Let's say 9 a.m. 9 a.m. and 02 minutes. So the moment it's 9:02, my workflow should trigger. How you would do that? Through this setting only. So this schedule trigger will, but this local instance, if you are running this locally and your laptop is shut down, then it will not work because this is a local instance. But same thing you can configure on your cloud instance, because cloud instance is always up and running, right? So then this will trigger, this automation will trigger, and whatever you have configured will happen next. I'll show you an example. I'm covering this in the example, so that will be more clear. So yeah, we have schedule trigger, we have event triggers. Already we have seen some of them, Gmail, Slack. There is MCP server trigger also. Some changes happened in the MCP server. So in this node, you can configure that MCP tool for any of that server. Then we have sub workflows. We have also seen this sub workflow. When executed by another workflow, which workflow you want to call. So yeah, so there is an error because they work in conjunction. I have not connected them. That's why you see the error sign or a warning sign. Then we have a split out node. You can split between the data. So for example, if you have an list of array, and you want to filter them out, or one by one you want to split them out, so you can use this node. This will split the data into individual items, and then you can perform some action and aggregate them back. So this is a reverse of split out. This is aggregate is like exactly opposite of what split out does. It aggregates them all back. Then we have edit fields. If you want to edit certain JSON, manipulate data, you use edit fields. If we have already seen switch statement, code. So yeah, I mean, I can share all these files with you later, so you can go through them as well. And yeah, one more very the beauty of this platform is, let's say I give you this file. How I will give you? I will go here and click on download. So all this workflow, the entire workflow will be downloaded as a JSON. So 17 nodes.json. If I open this, you'll see this, right? It's all JSON. And if you just click this copy and go here, okay, leave without saving, create new workflow. We have copied that JSON from here. And if I just click Control V here, everything will be available here. So no import, export, no deployment, nothing, right? It's so easy. All you need is just a JSON. So this is one way of importing data, importing the workflow. And let's say the other way is, I will undo this or I will delete this up. The other way is you go here and import from URL or import from file. So you can also always import from file. If I go here, 17 nodes, open. So it will also open up the JSON file in this format. But I really like the copy paste way. It is just that you open the JSON file, Control A, Control C, and Control V. Done. So these and now if you have built and you want to share it with someone, then you can just either do a download and share the JSON file with them, or you can click here on share to collaborate. But this will not be available on your local instance, but on cloud it will be available. You can share it with your co-developers or colleagues, the same workflow. So AI agent with search tool. Let me show you this once. So here what I have done. So I have used one node called when a chat message is received, because we are building a chat bot here. So active and inactive, like you can keep your workflow in an active mode, or you can keep it inactive also. So by default for your local instance, keeping it inactive is fine. But when you are using, let's say, trigger this workflow every 7 a.m. or every 9 a.m., that kind of when you're doing that kind of a trigger based automation or scheduled automations, that time your workflow should be always in active stage. If it is inactive, then it will not work for scheduled timers. So if you want your workflow to be always accessible and available and running, then you keep it active. But here locally, while executing this locally, if I keep it inactive, then also fine, it will get executed, because I am manually coming here and executing this workflow. But if it is uh, deployed and it is available as part of some workflow, scheduled workflow, then it has to be always in active. So just imagine in an automation anywhere or a term, you just imagine like public and private. So inactive is your private, active is public. So now what I'm doing here is when a chat message is received, I'm using one node, chat message is received node. As soon as I get a message here, I will call my AI agent, and that AI agent will have a model called Grok, because that's free. So Grok is available for free, and you have to just configure and get the API key, and just you can use the chat model. So that's why I didn't have an OpenAI key. So I'm using Grok here. Then in memory, currently it's deactivated, but if you enable, I will show it to you with deactivated and with enabled. And then here Serper API or Serp API. So if you go here, Serp API, I'll give that link also in the. You can go to Serp API and sign up with your account. I'm already signed up, so I will just log in. So you can just log in with account, and if you don't have account, you can create it. This allows you to use Google search from through APIs, right? So currently I'm in free plan. Free plan allows you to 250 searches per month, which is more than enough for us trying out stuff. So subscribe. Okay, to verify. So I'll just verify my email once. Yeah. So this is how it looks like once you log in and verify everything, your email and all. So this is the landing page where if you search anything like, let's say, temperature or something, search queries should be my temperature. And location, I can put Bangalore. Yeah, that's search. Your account needs to be verified phone. Okay, with this account, maybe with this login, I don't have it enabled, but okay, fine. The idea behind this is whatever you search on Google, same thing is available to your agent via this API. Okay, as simple as that. So here we have given access to SERP API as a tool. What it will do, I've connected to the account, and I've given some option called country India and language English. These are optional. You may not, if you not give, then also it's fine. It will work on, just it will take your query from your chat and it will try to search. If your agent is not able to answer some information, and if it needs help of this tool, then in that case it will do a Google search and respond back. So now we'll click on agent. What I have selected here, so I have selected a conversational agent because that's what my use case is. Whenever my user will come and type something, this agent should pick that up, and based on the defined prompt, it should respond. So I will click here on this small little icon so that it gets magnified and I'm able to view. So this is my prompt. In prompt, what I have written, steps to follow. And as remember, I told you this, if you see something within these brackets, it's all JavaScript. So here, what I'm doing, agent.info.memory connected to agent. So if memory is connected to agent or not, that's what I'm checking here. If it is connected, so this is my if condition. So there is also in programming, this is a way of writing if condition, if else condition in together in one line, right? So if my agent info dot memory connected to agent true, then execute this. If not true, then execute this rest of the statement. So this is form of a conditional statement. So this is my condition before the question mark. If that evaluates to true, then it will execute this step, this part. If it evaluates to false, then it will execute the remaining part. Then I'm just writing JSON.chat input as a user message. So whatever the agent will respond back based on the understanding, and it should put that back to the chat. That's what I'm. It is disabled here because we have not executed the previous node, so there is no input message. That's why it is disabled. But this is a basic thing. I mean, you can write a detailed prompt here following the CoStar framework and all that stuff. It depends what you want your agent to do. I'm just showing you a simple agent, how it agent node. So now let me click here, open chat. So it will open up a little window here as a chat window. And if I type hi message and click enter, so it will go ahead and execute. So you remember, you see, right, whatever green is highlighted got executed. So it received a message, agent invoked the chat model, and the chat model Grok in this case responded back with hello, how can I assist you today? So there is no memory in place in action right now. So now let me ask it, when did Putin visited India recently, let's say. So see, now it is executing it Serper API, right? It is doing a web search. You saw that, right? It went to a Serper API because it understood the query is something based on the recent event, which the model will not have answer to. So it fetched that information through a Google search. And according to the recent news article, Putin recently visited India with some source, and what it has provided the information. So it has already got access to the tool, it has executed it and fetched that information. But now let's say I will say something which I don't want it to go to a tool. So what is GPT, let's say. In this case, it has already understanding of that. It didn't went to a Google search, right? You can see the last node that got executed. So click here. When a chat message is received, this is what the input was. You can click on JSON also to see the data, and you can also maybe click on schema and table option. Anything is fine. So this was the query that was sent to the agent, and agent, based on the chat model, this was the input given to the chat model. This is how the input looks like in when we interact with the models and all. So this is how it looks like, and that was the output. GPT stands for this, and that's what you see it here. This way you can track it down. Now let me enable the memory option. Activate. Now memory is activated. What will be the difference now? Let's see. Let me just again type something. What is APA bootcamp? I'm sure a model will not have understanding about it. Let's see what it does. So it executed everything. Okay. It went to agent, it went to model, it went to a memory, it went to a Serp API, because it didn't have that information. It had to search it on the Google. So based on the information obtained, APA Bootcamp appears to be 2-month comprehensive AI program designed for blah, blah, blah. From my website only, it might have pulled that information. Or sorry, on Google, but yeah, from my website only, right? And now it has also stored that information in the memory, simple memory also. So if I go here, when the chat message was received, this was my query. Then it called agent. Then agent went to simple memory, and it tried storing some values, step to follow and all. This was a prompt value, right? This was the prompt which we have written. So what is the APA? What is APA Bootcamp? This was our query, user query. So it has stored them as an input. Then on the model, model reacted, model called the tool. This the chaining, the entire chaining you can see, guys, here. See how the workflow is processing. So then it went to Serp API, and it got that response based on this query, and then it again went to model, and then the final answer was given back to the chat, and it was again stored in the memory. When it got the final answer, it stored in the memory. So now in this memory we will have this information. So this was very simple implementation of a memory. So memory is nothing but to hold information. So currently it is holding that information, and the context window length, like up to what interactions or how many interaction it can hold data. So it is 5 right now. So for your last 5 interactions, it will always hold that data. But if you do it like 2 or 50, it will hold that much data. So it depends on what context length you want your memory object to hold your interactions, that you can set it here. So yeah, that's all for today, guys.